All right, so let's talk about 6 different businesses that are recession-proof that you could literally start today if you wanted to, and give you a blueprint and framework and how you could do that and how you can make money. Now, why am I making this video right now? And depending upon when you're watching this, just a few days ago, we had a huge stock market crash. I'm not going to go into the specifics of exactly why that happened, but I think it sparked a lot of fears, again, about a recession. If one does happen, how do you protect yourself? How do you put yourself in a position to make sure that you're still making money, you're still protecting your family? And I know a question that a lot of you are asking right now is now even a good time to start a business? Like, if we're heading into a recession, should I even be starting a business? Can I make money? So those are all the things that we're going to dive into and talk about in this video today. All right, so before we talk about some of the recession-proof businesses, let's take a look at why is this even a part of the conversation? I mean, it seems like things are going well with the economy, right? I mean, stock market's at an all-time high, or at least it was as of a few days ago, and things are looking pretty good, aren't they? Well, sort of. Last month in July, it came out, the unemployment report came out, and turns out that unemployment is now at a 3-year high to 4.3%. Now, it's not as high as the normal average. I mean, back in 2005, unemployment was at 5%, and that was when the economy was well and strong. And it spiked all the way to 7.3% in 2008, and then hitting its peak of 9.9% in 2009. So we're still far off that, but it seems like every week we're getting reports of companies that are announcing layoffs, companies like Intel, companies like Microsoft, all these different companies that are announcing layoffs. And so you may be sitting there thinking, oh man, I'm working for a company. Am I going to get laid off? Is if we do enter a recession, am I going to be taken care of? And so that's why looking into starting recession-proof business might be something that's important to you. And keep in mind that everything that's happening right now, and that's happening with the economic slowdown and rise in unemployment, it was intentional. The Federal Reserve did this on purpose. That's the whole point of raising interest rates. Interest rates are at a decade-long high right now, right? If just to get an SBA loan, you're looking at somewhere between 11 and 12%, and mortgage rates are at highs that we haven't seen in a decade and more. So these things were designed to slow down the economy. So anyways, let's jump into these recession-proof businesses. All right, so I'm going to tell you about 6 different businesses. The cool thing is that, you can start these businesses in any manner. So as an example, typically I talk a lot about franchises, right? Like I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Franchise Empire, and we help people find, vet, and launch franchises. But really any of these businesses, yes, you can do it as a franchise, but you can also, there's a couple other ways you can do it. You can buy an existing business, whether that's a franchise or non-franchise business. So you're going out there buying someone else's business that they've already established, right? And those could look like 2 different things. Number 1, be a business that's cash flowing, that's doing well, that's making money. Number 2 could be a turnaround opportunity, right? And so even though a business could be losing money and not doing well, it could be because the owner sucks at running their business. It could be because they're just a terrible entrepreneur. It doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity. We actually had a client that bought a painting franchise. He was able to, normally to get it up and running and operating between the franchise fees and all the startup costs and all that stuff, it's somewhere around like 150 to 200 grand. He bought it for 60 grand because the other owner had multiple businesses, wasn't really doing a good job of running it. And he turned that bad boy around in a few months and started cranking out some pretty significant months in sales. So turnaround opportunities can be just as solid as cash flowing opportunities. The disadvantage of the cash flowing opportunities that you probably paying a premium, and you're paying more for those businesses. So that's one way to go about it. You can go the franchise route. You can go the existing business route, but you could also start a business from scratch. Any of these ones that I'm going to tell you today, you could literally go out there and start it from scratch. So business number 1 is senior care, right? There's all sorts of data that we're seeing right now about the 10,000 baby boomers that are retiring every day. One of the best businesses to be in during an economic downturn is senior care, because at the end of the day, folks are getting older, they're losing some of their mobility, right? And they need to be cared for. If we do go into a recession and someone has a sick parent or grandparent or whatever it is, but they have bills to pay, they're going to have to go back to work. Even if they aren't working right now, they're going to have to go back into work. Or maybe they are working and they're definitely going to need to make sure that their parents or loved ones are taken care of, right? And so as an example, we have a franchise that we've covered. And so we do a newsletter called the Franchise Empire newsletter, where every week we send you a franchise and break down how much money they're making on average and all that cool stuff, how many locations they got. If you want to go check that out, you can get it for free in your inbox every Sunday. Just go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter. But when I look at one of these franchise opportunities, I see that there's a franchise that has 170 franchisees. The investment range to get it opens between 87 grand and 160 grand. And they report and show, as an example, I'm in Orlando, Florida. There's someone in Brevard, Florida that's doing $8.8 million a year in sales in that business. Now, they started it in 2015. They've been open since 2015, but $8.8 million in sales. And you go, well, what's the profit? I don't know. They don't tell me what the profit is to their business. What I can tell you, though, is generally speaking, if someone's doing 10% profit margin, that's decent. If they're doing 20%, that's a solid profit margin, respectable profit margin. Anything 30% or higher is like, hey, you have great margins. And I'm talking about businesses that have employees. I'm not talking about, someone just doing a solo business where you're the only person, where your profit margin could be 80 or 90%, because you don't have a business, you're self-employed, right? If your business relies on you every single day and you're pretty much the main person to get clients and fulfill on those clients, guess what? You don't own a business, or you're not an entrepreneur, you're self-employed, right? So senior care is one of those where you can go out there, figure out what licenses are required in your state, and then go out and start the business. You may find that in your state, it doesn't require specific licenses, or you can just go to, let's say, care.com or some of these websites where people are looking for caregivers, and maybe that's your side hustle. So maybe you keep your current income, and maybe you have a job where you're making 70, 80, 100 grand a year, but you're like, hey, I want to start putting some money aside. I want to make an extra $1,000, or $2,000 or $3,000 a month. And you're able to just go out there and start finding clients. It doesn't have to be medical care in the senior care. It could just be companion care. Like, you just need to be able to help them cook, move about the house, so on and so forth. Or you could go out there and look on some of the websites that have businesses for sale and see if you can acquire a business, right? So again, there's 3 ways to do it. You can start a business, you can buy the business, you can start a franchise. And starting the franchise, you can buy or start from new, depending upon what's available in your area. Industry number 2 is automotive. So let's think about this for a second. If things start tanking in the economy, well, what happens? Are people going to go out there buying cars? Are you going to go out and buy a new car and increase your car payment? No, people are going to stick with the vehicles they have. Car sales are going to decline. There's data that supports this, right? This is what happens when there's an economic slowdown. And we've already seen that started to happen in the automotive market. So what does that mean? Well, compared to if someone, let's say, has a major repair on their car, or if there's something going wrong and they could go, you know what, I don't even want to deal with it. I'm just going to go sell my car. And maybe they find out that they need new tires, right? And those tires are going to cost $1,000. And they go, you know what, I've been looking at that new Infinity for a long time. Instead of $1,000 to replace my tires, how about I just put $1,000 down, on a new car and swap it out? People are going to be more unlikely to do that. And so being in an automotive business that's focused on, repairs, even, car detailing, whereas, someone may just want to take care of the car that they have, even better. And again, a couple different ways that you can do this. You can start your own thing. Obviously, if you don't have any car experience, if you're starting your own thing, maybe being on an operating partner that has the experience in doing that, and you start something from scratch, or buy an existing business. There are so many mom and pop garages and shops that are available for sale. And so you can go in there and do that. Then, of course, there's the franchise route. So one of the businesses that we covered in our newsletter is an automotive franchise. And this franchise has 155 locations. Now, granted, they're definitely pricier, right? Some of you are thinking, I don't want to start something from scratch. That would take too much effort. effort. I don't want to buy an existing business where there's no systems in place and it's just kind of a mom and pop thing. Maybe they ran the business terribly. There's no blueprint. And you go, okay, yeah, I'd rather do something that has more of a proven track record, where there's this automotive franchise that's between $600,000 and $1.5 million to get open. But what they show is that the average store does $1.7 million in revenue. The average operating income, although only a 12% margin, is $200,000. And that's calculated off of 151 stores that were open in the year 2022. Our data that we have is a little bit older. And so there's plenty of opportunities like this. I mean, you have companies like some of these quick lube oil changes that are franchises. You've got companies like Meineke, you've got companies like Midas. You've got all these different automotive opportunities, right? So that's number two. Number three is recruiting and staffing, right? So one of the biggest indicators and the biggest changes, as we talked about in the economy, is when you're in a recession, is that unemployment spikes, right? So more and more people are looking for jobs. And so if you can create a staffing company, you could easily go out there and just create some contracts, right? If this is a skill set, if you have the ability to sell, you're good with kind of B2B, business to business, or you have, a network where, business owners, you can go, hey, are you struggling with finding good talent right now? Or are you needing to replace someone? And usually recruiters and in staffing, they get around 20% of the placement of the salary. So if you find someone, an employee that's an $80,000 a year employee, you could get a $16,000 commission or fee, a placement fee for finding them that employee. Now, again, some of you are the type of people where you're super resourceful. You can start it from scratch and do it on your own. Some of you, the idea of doing that, you're like, I have so many questions. What would I do? How would I start? Maybe that's not for you. So go out there, look and see if there are any businesses for sale in your area that have it. If not, there are, of course, franchises that are in that space. So this particular one, they probably don't have a lot of availability. And by the way, if you want to see what franchises are available in your area, you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory, and our team can check for free what is available, what may be available in your area. But there's this franchise called Express Employment Professionals. They got 798 franchise units. What's crazy is the first 12 months of business, the average sales are $1 million. Now, granted, the franchisees only receive a portion of that revenue, right? So I believe it's around 40 to 60%. So let's say the franchisee gets about $400,000 and $600,000 of that revenue, and then they have to pay their expenses with that. In the second 12 months of being open, talking about $2.6 million in average sales. First 24 months, $3.6 million in average sales. So again, whether you do this in the franchise or whether you go out and do it on your own, you know that this is a proven business model that would work during any economic environment. By the way, that franchise is between $100,000 and $400,000 to get open, depending upon which model that you choose. All right, industry number 4 is home services, right? So what do I mean by home services? Home services is anything that has to do with your home. Think landscaping, electrical, plumbing, pest control, power washing. I have a buddy who created this massive TV mounting business, right? And he doesn't now just mount TVs, he mounts pictures and all sorts of different things like that. And so, obviously people are not buying as many houses as they used to. Number one, the affordability on homes is crazy right now. The average home in the United States is over $400,000, which makes them not very affordable for many people. And, in a tough economic environment, people aren't going to switch. They're not going to move, right? Generally speaking, unless they're downgrading their home. So people still need a plumber. People still need electrical services. People still need things that are done around their house. And so one of the easiest ways that you can do this, if you have a skill set, if you are pretty handy, if you know that you can mount TVs, right? If you know that you can do little odd jobs here or there, painting, right? There are apps that you can go and post your skill set, like Thumbtack or Angie's List or TaskRabbit, right? Where you can go out there and get jobs. So you can just go out there literally, again, starting today and, go out there and get a client that for $100, $200, $300. I mean, think about this. If you can make $100 a day with the side hustle by doing some sort of work, that's an extra $3,000 a month, assuming that you're doing it every day of the week, right? What could an extra $3,000 $1,000 a month do for you and your family? Very interesting, right? So that's one way that you could go about it. There are tons of just home repair franchises and home services franchises. One that I'm looking at here is heating and air conditioning. It's a franchise that has 385 franchise units between $130,000 and $274,000 to get up and open. The average territory, meaning like geographic location, does about $1 million in sales, right? So pretty interesting. And there are all sorts of concepts like this. There are cleaning franchises, there are plumbing franchises, there are fencing franchises, like every single thing that you can imagine. We had a client that bought a painting franchise. We have a lot of clients that have bought painting franchises, some resales that were cash flowing a significant amount and some not, right? And so what you can do, again, the other thing is you can go around looking on different websites or approaching people that you may know that have different businesses and see if you can just buy their business. So that's one way of going about it. Let's talk about the next recession-proof business, and that's childcare. Now, this is an interesting one. So again, easy way to do this for those of you who have kids. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. Maybe you're a stay-at-home dad, and you are already looking after your little ones. Well, guess what? There are some parents out there where they don't want to send their kids to daycare, right? Maybe they have more flexible needs. Maybe the daycare goes, all right, yeah, we only offer a full day, and that's going to be $1,000 a month or $250 a week or whatever. And a parent's thinking, I just need like 2 or 3 hours a day. Well, guess what? You can pool together, talk to a few parents, and say, you know what? I'm going to start my own little in-house daycare where I take care of my kids. You can pay me X number of dollars. I'll take care of your kid. I'll take care of your kid. I'll take care of your kid. Boom. Overnight, you have a childcare business. Again, you have to, of course, look to see if there are any like licensing laws or anything like that in your specific area. But that's how quickly you can start making money. Making money as an entrepreneur does not need to be super complicated. And if you're the type of person that's resourceful, you can just start implementing ideas. You don't need to overthink things. So you could literally, again, start making money today, tomorrow. There's other websites like, as I talked about before, care.com, where we've used to hire a babysitter or a nanny or someone to help around the house or something like that. And you could build up this kind of book of business of clients and people that want your help. So that's one easy way to do it. There's also childcare franchises out there. And although I don't have one pulled up right now, but I know we've had a client that has bought a daycare franchise, right? And there's all sorts of interesting opportunities. There's ones that are more entertainment based, where it's like kids are going for fun, etc. Like either way, no matter what's happening in the economy, like families have to take care of their kids, right? Last but not least is pet services, right? So pet services for people that don't have kids, or even people that do have kids, their pets are their family, right? So think about it. No matter what's going on in the market, in the economy, people still need to take care of their pets. Their pets still need to be walked. They still need to be groomed and bathed, right? If they're traveling, they still need to stay somewhere. And so this is something where, if someone's at work, maybe they need their dog walked. And so guess what? You can go out and be that person. Hey, yeah, I'll go walk your dog, or I'll go stay at your house. And instead of boarding them and having to pay 60, 80, $100 a night, and maybe your dog's not up to date on all their shots and you got to try to rush and get shots, you know what? I'll take your dog and you pay me half of what you would pay a dog boarding place. Maybe you start your own little mini dog boarding place. Maybe you start grooming dogs and giving them baths and these things. You can pass out flyers in your neighborhood. You can put up a post in your local community Facebook group. Again, you can put your info on some of these apps that we talked about. Easy ways to do it. And for those of you who go, nope, I'd want more of a proven model. Well, guess what? There is a bunch of pet franchises out there. There's ones for grooming. There's ones for dog training. There's ones that are more expensive that, may take $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, maybe even $1 million to build out a location and have a dog grooming place. All sorts of options out there. If as we wrap this up, if you got value out of the video, definitely hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed it. We do have a video, might be right here, on the 5 low-cost franchises that all make over $1 million a year. So if you want to check out that video, those have some specific opportunities that you might enjoy. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.